Hi, it's Todd Gruppen from Kaneohe, Hawaii. It's day number 9 of the Big Idea Mastermind 90-day video commitment. I want to talk to you about our return to Hawaii, the reason that we came back to Hawaii. My wife and I left Hawaii in 1984. I left actually in the beginning of 1984 because my brother passed away, and I went to California for his funeral. And I'd been to California before, Southern California, and it wasn't really, Southern California was a lot of fun, but I had to leave because it was just way too much fun, and I had to come home. But when I left in January of '84, I left because I lost my brother, and I wanted to be with my family that was living in the northern part of California, San Francisco area, and during that time, and so that we could be together, to be a family together, to grieve together, to love together, and to find out really what happened. There were some extenuating circumstances around my brother's passing, and sadly we were never able to resolve any of that, but that's another story. My wife was still at school at the University of Hawaii, and she was trying to finish out her semester there so that she could come to California. And it was never our plan to stay 21 years in California. I don't regret any of the time that I did spend there. I had 4 wonderful children. We became successful in business, owned property. I mean, life was good. We were, successful to the extent that we were able to travel back to Hawaii at least once, if not twice a year. We had, regular trips to the snow during the wintertime. We had regular trips out to the coast during the summertime, and life was good. There came a time, though, that I had trouble leaving Hawaii. I would come back home here, and I would be emotionally wrought as it got closer to being time to go back to California, and I didn't really understand what that was. And about 2 years before we came back to Hawaii, I had told my wife one day, we were talking and we were planning a trip back to Hawaii, and I said, Ilona, I'm not going back to Hawaii unless it's one way. I can't take leaving Hawaii anymore. It is too painful for me, and so I didn't come back at all. And my wife had brought the kids back, and they went to Maui to be with her family, and they came over to Oahu, and they spent some time with my family. But I stayed in California, and while I missed my family, and yes, this may sound selfish, but I was avoiding the pain of having to leave Hawaii again, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And so my wife got back to California with the kids, and we were down walking by the American River in Sacramento one day, and we just came to a decision, the two of us, that we were successful in California. We had become successful through our own energy and through our own determination, and we figured, you know what, let's go back to Hawaii. We can do that there as well. And I was still, actually we were both still employed, and we just decided, you know what, when we go back to Hawaii, you're going to stay home with the kids, and I'll take care of the income. And we went home and we talked to the kids, and my oldest at the time was a junior, halfway through his junior year in high school, and so we sat down at the dinner table one night, and we actually made them part of the decision-making process, and we just said, listen, we want to move back to Hawaii, and we have 2 possible ideas for moving. One is we just pack up everything right now and go, and the other is, we point out, we plan out some point in the future, but we want to hear what you guys have to say. So my oldest being junior in high school, and my second oldest was halfway through his 7th grade year in middle school, and they had said they wanted to finish out at their respective schools before we moved to Hawaii. And we honor our children's decisions, and though it was painful for me to have to wait an additional 18 months to move back to Hawaii, we did it. We decided to wait and let the kids finish out their schooling. And as it got closer, sorry, I don't want to get too far ahead. The one thing that we did not make an issue about moving back to Hawaii was money. And the idea was that money was not going to get us to Hawaii. It was our absolute determination that that was right, and our faith that God would lead us where we needed to be when we needed to be there, and we literally left it at that. And so as the time got closer, I didn't have a job in Hawaii, and my wife wasn't looking. That was never going to be an issue for her. And we literally were, the house was sold and we rented it back because it sold a lot quicker than we thought it would, so we had to do a rent back until we were ready to leave for Hawaii. I still didn't have a job. We didn't have a house here, and yet, you know what? It didn't matter. We were prepared for anything. The proceeds from the sale of the house were going to help us to survive until we got our everything in place. Now, through this entire process, we had given everything over to God, and everything that we did in obedience to God, and we prayed about what we were going to do, and we prayed about work, and we prayed about a home, and we just didn't worry about it. And so here we are, about 6 weeks before it was time to get on the plane. Still didn't have a job, and I was at work one night, and I was talking to one of our customers, and she actually worked in Ohio at a call center, and I worked in a call center I was a manager at a call center in Sacramento, and we had a really good working relationship. One night she says, "Man, I really wish you would come to work for our company." And I says, "Well, I'll tell you what, you get me a job in Hawaii, and I'll be happy to work for your company." And she said, "You know what, it's kind of funny you should mention that. They're actually looking for a manager in Hawaii." And she put me in touch with the director of operations here in Hawaii, and we actually kind of hit it off because I'm from Hawaii, so I could understand that mentality. And he was a local boy and had been in Hawaii all of his life as well, and so it was really quick. That turnaround happened really very quickly, and he said, "Okay, great, I want you to come to work. When can you start?" And I says, "Well, we don't even have plane tickets yet, and we're still working on the moving process. So once we've determined what the numbers are, I'd like to negotiate the move as well." And so we were able to negotiate the movement costs for all of the household goods and our car. And so still didn't have a house here, but I now had a job, and I now had a means to get my family over without having to use the proceeds of the sale of the house to fund it. And we get to the airport the day that we're leaving, and literally we had to have had 20 pieces of luggage, because the things that we couldn't fit in the container that the kids couldn't live without all went into duffel bags and suitcases and whatever else we could find to get onto a plane. And our car wasn't going to be here on time because we actually dropped it off that morning, and it was just that flurry of excitement as you're trying to get onto a plane and get ready to leave. And so we get on the plane, still don't have a place to live, and my sister comes to pick us up at the airport, and we throw everything in the back of her pickup truck, and I'm not even ready to get a rental car yet. We're just, because we're just going to spend the night here, and wife and kids were going to go to Maui because it was right in the middle of the summer the next day, and we drive home to my sister's house in Kaneohe, and 5 houses up the street there's a moving van, and I remember just going, wow, are they moving in or are they moving out? And my sister said, oh no, they're moving out. And I went, do we know who owns the property? And she goes, no, but the leaseholder owns the 2 houses, this house and our next door neighbor's house. And so we went over, and since everybody knows everybody on our street, I love that. We went over to his house and got the phone number for the landlord, and called him up and said, I understand you're looking for a tenant on Iu Street. And he says, well, somebody was there, somebody has called me and talked to me about it before this phone call, so I kind of have to give them the first choice for the house if they want it. And I said, well, I understand that, but just don't rule me out just yet. And we actually, bantered back and forth literally for, 2 or 3 weeks while they were prepping the house for move-in. And I finally got tired of waiting one day, and I said, listen, I'll tell you what, let me see if I can move you in the direction that I'd like to move you. And I told him, I'll pay you 4 months rent in advance, plus first, last, and deposit. And he goes, okay, when can you move in? And here I am. Almost 9 years later, we still live in the house. We gave everything over to God, and God provided. And I live in Hawaii, where my heart is. My family, my children, have been here all of their lives for 2 weeks at a time. My wife is Hawaiian and was born and raised here, but we're home now. And it was our faith and our obedience to God and our belief and our determination that this is where we needed to be, this is where we wanted to be. And God agreed with us, and He made it possible for us to be back in Hawaii. And that's not my story, people. That's just how I got back to Hawaii. But the aloha that I feel for everybody that I met has roots right here in Kaneohe, in Ha'ula, La'ie, Kahuku, all the towns that I grew up in during my formative years and in my high school and young adult years. I've been a country boy all my life, and yeah, I lived in the city, but my heart my heart lives in the country. My heart belongs in the country. And so here I am. Yes, I love to travel, but I've made it a promise that there's only one more time that I'll leave Hawaii and not come back. I'll be in a canoe with my family as they spread my ashes over the ocean, so that I could spend eternity in Hawaii. So anyway, listen, you guys, thank you so much for supporting each other, supporting me, and allowing me to support each and every one of you. Keep it up. Keep the faith. Believe in yourself. Believe in God. Believe that you can do what you are doing, and you'll be able to do it all the way through. I really have faith in each and every one of you, and I can't wait to see all of us at the end of this 90-day period. Take care, everyone. Aloha from Hawaii. Malama pono.